Hi, I'm Merrick Watts and I'm going back to school with Student Edge.
What were you like as a teenager?
As a teenager, I was, in the old terminology, I was a scallywag.
A scallywag, okay.
Yeah, I was a pretty poor student. I was a class clown and I was pretty poorly behaved. I had a bad truancy record. And I didn't really have any application towards school at all, which was a bit of a problem given that my mother was a teacher at my school. So
Was that the reason? Like, were you rebelling
not
in
at
that
all.
sense?
Not at all. I don't think that I wasn't a bad kid in the sense where I was, deliberately hurting people or setting fire to things or anything like that. It was just, I just loved being an idiot and being the class clown and having the attention. I didn't have the application to kind of knuckle down scholastically. And I don't know, I enjoyed school for a place to have enjoyment, not as a place to gain knowledge.
Were you kind of feeding off the other kids as well? Were you sort of loving that attention, or were
Of
they getting sick of it?
Simon, have you just clocked the fact that I'm a massive attention seeker? Wow.
Well, it's a minute into the interview, we've got to find out.
No, massive attention seeker. I liked it. I liked having an audience and I liked making people laugh, and that really seriously affected my scholastic career, and certainly at high school anyway.
How much of it was not really caring about the subjects necessarily, and maybe at that point were you already kind of thinking, well, I'm going to be a comedian, or I want to get into that field, so what am I going to get out of maths or geography?
Well, I certainly felt that way. There was some subjects I was deeply interested in, and my mother is a specialised English teacher, so I always had time for English and for literature. I always enjoyed those subjects, and I did quite well actually at school. I always got good marks, but I put that down to having well-read parents and having an interest in that subject. But I was terrible at maths, horrible at science. There's no interest in biology, no interest in music, no real interest in the arts, even though my father was a painter. I didn't really have, I liked PE. It was PE, sports,
Right.
Sports and English I really liked.
Okay, so you're coming to the end of high school then. I mean, has any plan emerged at that point? Like, did you know what's going to happen after 17?
I'll be completely honest, it was a very turbulent time, and a lot of my friends in my friendship group were pretty nefarious. We were well known as being a bunch of crooks. We were not very great kids. Right. And we were in a lot of trouble, and I was in trouble with the law when I was a young bloke as well. Nothing too serious, but I had to face the authorities on a couple of occasions, and I went from being kind of interested in being naughty and fun into just being naughty, and then that just turned into criminality, and it took me down the wrong path, but I was able to bring that back around. But a lot of my friends crashed and burned, a lot of them, and in different manifestations they failed to achieve lots of goals. And I think for me, I didn't really have a direction, but I kind of had an inkling when I was about 16 or 17. I remember watching Steve Eisler on television thinking, I'd like to do that. I'd like to just make people laugh, but being on television. It wasn't about fame. I've never been motivated by fame. I've been motivated by making people happy.
How do you get good at comedy and in these fields where you may not be going to university or college to study stand-up? How do you feel you did get sort of advanced in that field?
I do genuinely believe that you are born funny, and not necessarily born funny, but whatever characterises your upbringing will characterise you as a comedian, and it's not necessarily always from a good place. It's, overly nurturing and having a really happy, fruitful childhood will not make you a great comedian. There's always, there's a lot of comedians that talk about the fact that if you want to be a good comedian, have a painful childhood. And I didn't have a painful childhood. I certainly had a lot of anxiety when I was a young boy, and I didn't have a great relationship with my father. And I think a lot of who I am as a comedian is based around trying to get attention from my father. So I think I kind of was going to become a comedian. There's no one, not a lot of people anyway, I think, who knew me in high school who were very surprised by the fact that I'm a comedian.
Knowing that you kind of built on your childhood and your past to become the comedian you are today, do you have regrets about your teenage years? Like, do you wish you'd done it differently, or?
Oh, yeah, look, I do, part of me, no, I'm grateful with who I am and where I'm at. And all those experiences have created so much comedy for me, you know, all of the kind of ups and downs and the bumps and hurdles, and, you know, particularly a lot of stuff that happened to me at school and the way I kind of went about things as a young person have helped me shape my comedy. So I don't regret that. Because I started comedy quite young. I started when I was 20, which is reasonably young. And that's helped me. But if I look back now at 43, I've got 2 children and a wife, and the one thing I wish I'd done, I do regret making some of those lifestyle choices. Hanging out with people who were self-destructive, who had no application, when what I should have done is, instead of moving towards the bad group of kids, I could have very easily, in a different set of circumstances, maybe made some choices where I moved into more thoughtful friendship groups. You know, kids, because I did actually quite like kids who were into sciences and into having a scholastic outlook. You know, kids who did have application. I liked them. I like nerds, that's what I'm saying. Guys like you.
Thanks, yeah, appreciate it.
You're right, guys like you.
We could have been such good friends,
yeah,
but
we
never would have.
I ruined it.
Yeah, you ruined it.
I'm the problem in the friendship. It's not you, it's me. Right. So, you know, there's kids like that, but then I started, for whatever reason, I just liked the trouble. I liked being naughty. And so instead of kind of going that way, I went that way. And sometimes I think, what would my life have been if I had moved more into that area, and instead of, you know, making stupid lifestyle choices, I had just focused my attention on something more thoughtful. What would I have been? I probably would have gone on to university, and I probably would have done a lot more in a different area. But I don't regret where I am. I'm just curious about where that fork in the road would have taken me. Just sliding doors.
Merrick, thanks so much for your time today.
Pleasure. Thanks, Simon. I like nerds.
Thank you.
I like you. You're a good guy.
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed that video, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, or find more of our stuff at studentedge.com.au.